Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 2 as France, starting in 1920. And here we are at peace, somewhat surprisingly. I didn't really expect the Japanese to go for a peace. They were defeated, but not catastrophically defeated in our naval carrier battle. The cruiser battle before that had been a sort of a score draw, a bit of a cat and mouse affair. Nothing too much happened. I did, I believe, defeat the invasion. I didn't get a message to say so, but in defeating Japan in 2 naval battles after they invaded, I imagine the invasion collapsed. But still, seemed odd that the Japanese chucked their hand in after only about 5 months of war. I didn't choose the most ingratiating, yes, please, let's have peace. I chose the middle option, but we are where we are. And kind of good. I expect to have time to sneak in one more war before the end of the game. So cross fingers, I can provoke Germany or Russia or indeed Italy to one final hurrah of a war, because the Japan War was always a difficult war, always difficult to maintain force projection on the other side of the world, 3 oceans away. And it gives us a chance to collect ourselves for peace. And as usual, the peace dividend is a mighty crash in the budget. I've already done some of the admin, so I've started to set sail my fleet from Southeast Asia and some in the South Pacific back to the Mediterranean, where I will be reserving them and mothballing them and bringing down this minus nearly 11,000. It was actually at minus 12,000, but I've also put the air groups into reserve and I've cut down the intelligence, although I've put it up against the Germans and the Russians just to try and provoke them a little bit. I'm also minded to put into halting these constructions. So that will give us some space to allow for the budget to rise again. I'll keep the Dauphin still building because it's only got 3 months left, and then we can pop it into reserve. So that's all relatively straightforward peacetime kinds of things to do. I have to kind of wait to get the fleet back and properly sort it out before I decide if I'm going to do much else besides in terms of new designs or buildings, given that we're in the middle of 1953. Thank goodness we had a bit of a reserve funds so that we're not completely embarrassed by the need to return the fleet quickly. So let's push on, and auto loading of the ever problematic 5-inch dual purpose gun. Well, thank you. Let's ignore the air bases. The Italians have a new one. Okay. Statistics compiled during the war. Let's have a little look at these. Okay. Total enemy aircraft shot down 31. Doesn't sound great, but remember, that's because they never found us. Shot down by fighters, 65. Shot down by other aircraft, 29. And then the usual modest amounts for anti-aircraft artillery. But as I say, they were never really tested because they never found us. So good to see, but actually, for once, not that relevant. Not really that many lessons. One thing that I did notice, just checking here if there's anything particularly interesting, nope, was that the Japanese cap was very effective. They have, let me see, compare fighters, and yeah, their 1947 Mitsubishi was, very good. Only a top speed of 360, so slightly worse than our Portez 137E. The Lavasseur is just coming into service now, and I've just checked on the carriers, and only one carrier, the Rhone, still has the Moraine Saliner from 1943 or something on board. The rest are starting to be replaced by this new and significantly better Levasseur. So yes, this plane did really, really well, even though it's inferior. So inferior speed, inferior firepower. Not sure about the rest. Than our Portez. So had the Japanese found us, I'm reasonably confident that with our Portez and also with our untried SAM batteries, we would have inflicted at least as many, if not more, casualties on them. So I was also just checking that just in case I needed to develop a new fighter type. Let me just go through and put ships that arrived into the Mediterranean into mothballs and reserve. Okay, that's brought the monthly balance down to minus 2,000, so getting better. Okay, so now the monthly balance is right down because the bulk of the fleet has entered the Mediterranean. Again, I'll just sort out some reserves and mothballs. Okay, I've put together a reasonable active fleet of the most modern ships and sent them to Northern Europe. The rest are either still moving to the Mediterranean, staying on station for colonial reasons, or are in reserve or mothballed. So that's all coming together. So as you can see, some of these ships haven't returned, like the Tourville. Some are in reserve, like the Ducan and the Liberté. But yeah, reasonably happy with where we're up to. What was tricky, sorting out peacetime navy. Here is the Dauphin. Prime Minister made a foreign diverted tension. So who are we going to have a foreign policy gaffe at? Obviously, Germany looks like the prime contender. So let's say Germany. Let's see if that does anything to our tensions. Yeah, okay. So that goes up to that. So I'm going to bring down Russia and up the German intelligence effort to see if a little bit of friendly spying will help things. The completion of the Dauphin allows these two light cruisers to be resumed. And once again, just go through my fleet and try and sort it out a little bit more. Okay, that's got everything into the order and state that I wanted to. Just reflecting that the fleet didn't really take too much of a battering. I only lost 2 destroyers. Yes, they were épées, my most modern guided missile destroyers, and they were because of the British rather than enemy action, from which I kept them safe. But there you go. But essentially unscathed. It would be might be nice to actually just build a couple more of this enhanced épée class just to make up those losses. Let's get those going. And yeah, still a bit of a balance left. I've been having to think about what to do with this leftover money. So nearly 5,000 and 2.5 years, 24, 5, 6, 7, 28 months, call it. What can I build in 28 months or less? So first of all, let's have a look at our build options. So Charlatois are out of the question because they'll take 30 months. We just haven't got time anymore. A Rhone, only 24 months, would certainly be a viable option, as well as an Ile-de-France battlecruiser, taking the full 28 months. Maybe an Amiral Crass at 22, and of course, a Massou would only take 16, and we've got 2 of them building already to replace our Japanese wartime losses. So, interesting options. If we go over to the Almanac, and we imagine that we're going to have a war with Germany, well, in big ships, we're nearly parity. 3 battleships and 9 battlecruisers against 8 and 1. And if we have a look at some of these German battlecruisers, you know, they've got 13-inch guns. I'm not too concerned about them, especially as presumably they have a lighter battlecruiser armor scheme. So that doesn't seem too much to worry about. So I mean, it'd be just wonderful to do another Ile-de-France, but I really feel I can't justify it. If we go to the carriers, we have 8 and a light one. They have 9. Sorry, they have 13 and 6. So they have a pretty hefty carrier advantage. So that would certainly be a very sensible spend. Cruisers, they have 23 heavies and 10 lights, and we have 9 and 3. I'm thinking particularly the light cruisers are a big deficiency because, of course, you get a lot of cruiser actions. If we have a little look at the German cruiser force, they have a real old mixture. So they have some 8 inches, 8 times 8 inches, quite old. They have some 10 inches. They have 15 6 inches, and then back to some 8 inches, 9 of them, and then up to 9 10 inches. They're light cruisers, 12 16 inches and 16 5 inches. So a real range of all the various different types of design. I guess the main problem is just the sheer number of them. 33 actually. 33 against 12. So really quite outnumbered. Now we are building 2 light cruisers, and that will help a bit, and I could build a couple more. But what style to build? So obviously I've been focusing on designs with a lot of SAMs, and there's really 2 to look at. So there's the Amiral Crass, 9-inch guns, 3 lots of SAMs, or in service there is the where are we? The Admiral Cecile, 12 6 inches and 2 SAMs. So do we go for a design that is more gun heavy and less SAM heavy? I suspect probably this is a better balance if I was going to go that way. So doesn't really help with the problem, does it? Another Rhone, 24 months. A couple more Admiral Crasses or Admiral Ceciles, 22 months. 22 months difference in it. Let me think. Okay, I've thought. And my reasoning goes something like this. Yes, we do have significantly fewer aircraft carriers than the Germans do, but the North Sea and the English Channel, and possibly out into the Bay of Biscay Atlantic, it's all very constricted set of waterways within range of land-based air. So there's a slight equalizer there. If we spawn in the middle of the North Sea, it's going to be a problem whatever happens, because we'll be in range of German air. If they spawn in the Channel or out off Brest or something like that in the Atlantic, then obviously we would have a great advantage in aircraft. In terms of cruisers, which tend to pop up more often, if we appear in the North Sea, then having heavy anti-aircraft defenses in the SAMs may well turn out to be a really good thing. So that's taking me away from the heavier gunned cruisers to the heavier SAMmed cruisers, and also they would add an extra layer of protection. Now, we haven't really seen an opportunity for gun and missile air defenses to do their thing, because caps have been the predominant air defense screen so far. But I kind of feel that the more responsible, if less glamorous thing to do is to have a couple more cruisers, light cruisers, to beef up the escorts of the carriers, increase the air defenses, and give us more opportunities to have cruiser engagements with a chance of not being quite so overwhelmed. So that's my thinking. Please, as ever, share your ideas in the comments, and we will see how that goes. Right. So that's the end of August. Revolution in an African country has left some of our nationals stranded. What do we do? Well, of course, we send a strong increased tensions, prestige, budget. And there we go. Germans increasing their naval spending. Let's see if that did anything to tensions. Not so far as I can see. But on the bonus side, the increase in budget because of the tensions allows us to build another light cruiser. Let's go crazy. And there we go. I've just remembered there's one thing I want to do, which I think was a suggestion from one of you. I can't remember who at the moment, but it was a very good suggestion, so thank you very much, which was to effectively increase the number of fighters. So I've got 2 torpedo bombers, 2 dive bombers, and 3 fighter squadrons. And the suggestion would be, certainly for the Panleve here, to probably change one of these squadrons to be a fighter squadron. So change the role from dive bomber to fighter to allow us to still have a relatively heavy AA, but also make sure we increase the fighter presence with the strikes, because the enemy caps, certainly the Japanese, was so intense. So I'm just going to do that here. You'll notice some of the squadrons have a asterisk. If anyone can remember what that means, please let me know in the comments, because I can't remember. Let's change the role here as well. And for the Sul, the same. And then Chateau de Foy. So they've got 1, 2. Okay, yeah, these definitely need reorganizing. So what I've done is I've split the 2 big fighter squadrons into 4 smaller squadrons, and I've changed the role for a dive bomber and torpedo squadron into fighters. Now, obviously, that substantially reduces the strike capability, but it also means that I can send the fighters out in a strike role, because they have pretty good strike capabilities in and of themselves, and have them as fighter escorts as well. So I'm just going to do that for the other carriers. Okay, so that's done all of that for all of the carriers. Still mystified why the Rhone still has these ancient Moraine Solinaire MS-113s when they could have Potes 137Ds or Cs or Bs, whatever. There are hundreds of them lying around in maintenance, but not deployed, and instead were forced to use this ancient plane. Although nice to see that the Lavasseur is finally entering service. You'll notice some of the qualities, if you ignore the ones for the squadrons that I've just created, is down in some places, reflecting really significant losses from the adventures out in Japan. Okay, so let's take it to the next month. So interested in buying the rights of fire. I'm going to say no. I mean, they're fine now, but they're definitely a potential opponent, and also saying no to them slightly annoys them. Figuring out the concept of early air-launched torpedoes. I would have thought that they've been air-launching torpedoes for a long time. See, interesting here that these new fighters have been re-equipped with the Potesses and some Lavasseurs. Let's just go and see the Rhone, wherever it is. Here we go. Oh, have a look here for the Rhone. Yep, still with these. I mean, I almost feel like I should disband them and see if I can get some new ones instead. But I'll give it a few more months before having to do that. Actually, if we have a look at the aircraft types, see, look, Potes 137Es, 123 are in stock. Why, oh why are we still having to deal with this ancient, dreadful thing? I don't understand. Actually, whilst we're here, let's have a look at our planes. So, medium bomber, nice and modern. Levasseur, lovely, coming along and being mass produced, which is great. The Potes is fine. Farm and dive bomber, we're kind of moving away from them and allowing the fighters to do a similar job. After all, if you look at the Levasseur, that can carry a 2,000-pound bomb, as opposed to the dive bomber, only a 1,000-pounder. So actually getting to be more and more capable, and possibly next year I should replace all of the dive bombers with fighters. The old medium bombers probably need to be obsoleted, and the torpedo bomber, now that goes all the way back to 1947, and I think there's probably a case for modernizing that. I could modernize the float. No, I couldn't modernize the float plane because I've got none in service. The flying boat would also probably be well worth modernizing. I'm going to modernize the torpedo bomber first because it's more directly in the line of fire. So torpedo bomber, and I would like to make it faster, and I would like to make it probably tougher. Those seem like good things to do. Okay, because the toughness at the moment is only 8. Sorry, 15. Toughness is 11. So actually, it is quite tough, the old flying boat. But yes, that would seem to be a good thing to want to do. Right. Distinct lack of tension increases. Let's hope nothing occurred from that one that we sent down to Africa for stranded citizens and all of that stuff. So that was a bit odd. So the Dauphin is finished working up. Welcome to the fleet. A rebellion's broken out in Egypt. Poor old Egypt. So the Germans scrapping an old bath cruiser. That's always good to see. Probably need to sort these by tonnage. There we go. So the Dauphin, they're all fair. These two chaps. Would love to bring them out of the Mediterranean. Actually, let's do that. Let's move them to Northern Europe so that we're concentrating the fleet a little bit better. This good old chateau is a bit obsolete, but I'm minded to just let that run at the moment. I don't want to lose the crew quality status. As you can see, my actual crew qualities of various types, and if I go to my air quality, they are, well, Panleve is great, Lafayette is great, goods and veterans, that's nice to see. These guys, yep, all good. These guys, they've got a couple of these new squadrons are poor, but all the rest are at least good. Same here. And here, and here, and the right. See, these two. I'm going to change their role to, I don't know, dive bomber. Change role to whoops, dive bomber. Should be in here really. To try and get rid of these because they shouldn't be appearing. And then press OK, and then next month I'll change them back to being fighters. And so into December, Britain wants to extend our security. Yes, of course. Well, I mean, I don't know how sophisticated the political modelling is, but whether there's a disincentive to go to war if you've got an ally, I have no idea. I suspect it's not that sophisticated. Otherwise, who would go to war with Britain? But yes, we'll extend it because it's very useful. A good old regional war in the Balkans. We should avoid stoking the flames. No, 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 no. No, we should definitely stoke the flames. New medium bomber is ready, which is great. So that'll be nice to see that entering service. And let's go and sort out that carrier. Wrong one. So here. So let me just change this. So change your role back to being a fighter. And I think it was you. Change your role back to being a fighter as well. Okay, there we go. That's where we are just now. Let's leave it here and start 1954 afresh and see if we can't get to that final exciting wartime exchange. So as ever, thanks for watching. Stay safe and see you next time.